It's time for search mode, and this next story started on Instagram but has been blowing up everywhere. It's this post by Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker James Harrison that has everyone talking. The former NFL Defensive Player of the Year said, "I came home to find out that my boys received 2 trophies for nothing. Participation trophies. These trophies will be given back until they earn a real trophy. I'm not about to raise 2 boys to be men by making them believe that they are entitled to something just because they tried their best." Now, James added that he's proud of his boys, but he touched on something people have been saying for years. Just listen to what Ashley Merriman, the author of New York Times best-selling book, Losing is Good for You, told HBO's Real Sports.
I want kids to improve. And I want kids to be engaged in the process of improving.
And if they get a trophy, they won't want to improve?
Why would they? Why do they need to?
Joining me now to talk about this is the host of the incredibly popular morning radio show here in Atlanta, The Burt Show, Burt Weiss, and CNN digital correspondent Kelly Wallace. Now, Burt, I want to start with you. You have very strong opinions about this, and you get really passionate about it, along with many other people as well. And it's something you talk about on your show quite a bit, what you call the wussification of America.
Yeah, I have. I've been talking about this for years. I have a 12-year-old and I have an 8-year-old also. And I just kind of feel like, you know, your first instinct as a parent is to protect your child. Try to catch them before they fall, make sure they feel no pain. But I think we're taking that too far. When it comes to sports, I played my entire life, and you can learn as much about losing as you can about winning. And now we're in a society that doesn't keep score, that gives trophies just for showing up. And I think that's really detrimental to kids as they grow up.
Right. It prevents them from getting some of the learning experiences that you yourself have enjoyed when you came into this. Kelly, you don't share Burt's opinion about this. How do you feel about the way James Harrison in particular handled his situation?
Well, I just think he was a little harsh. You know, my thoughts are with his 6- and 8-year-old sons, right? You know, now the whole world knows that their trophies are going back. And I was just talking to someone who said, I hope he had a conversation with his sons and told them what he was doing and why. And here's the thing. I think he went a little overboard. I have 2 girls, 7 and 9. They play soccer. They get soccer trophies. When they do gymnastics, they get gymnastics medals. And I'm sort of okay with that. I do think there is a larger question here, and Burt touched on that, which is, you know, does everyone need to be a winner, right? Are we preventing our kids from failing? Are we, you know, holding them up all the time, trying to keep them happy when they're not learning resilience and not coping with disappointment? That is part of this national conversation that James Harrison set off, and I welcome that. Yeah. I just think he might have gone a little overboard here.
Well, Kelly, I want to read something from some research out there. It's actual science that supposedly proves the damaging effects of this. It's called partial reinforcement extinction effect, and it basically says that kids are kept from learning how to properly deal with adversity and frustration by virtue of this type of stuff. And Kelly, it seems like you're conceding to that. So this whole movement spawned from something in education in the 80s, which was a self-esteem movement and wanting to positively reinforce children so that they felt good about themselves. But it's come at a big cost.
Yeah, you know, my feeling is when my kids leave the house eventually, and again, they're only 12 and 8 right now, is number one, they have to be capable. And that only doesn't mean physically, but also emotionally. They got to be strong. The world is a tough place. Yeah. And if I'm creating an atmosphere for them where it's nice and soft and protected, then I'm not doing my job as a parent. They got to know that they have to deal with adversity when they get out of the house. And I feel like this is one of the ways that we are taking this away from our children.
Yeah, we're stripping it of its benefits. Kelly, you know, what do you think would be a happy medium here in this scenario where we can both continue to give kids the benefits of competition and understanding failure and winning, and yet maybe not be as harsh as what you were talking about? Because I want to let you know that James Harrison is somebody who walked on in college at Kent State. He's somebody who was undrafted in the NFL, and he worked hard and rose to become the Defensive Player of the Year and eventually win a Super Bowl ring as well. So it's really important for him to send this message.
Yeah, I think it's and I do think it's a great message. I don't want that to lose sight of that. I think we have to, as Burt is saying, we have to teach our kids how to be resilient. We have to teach them how to cope with defeat. I guess what I'm sort of saying is, you know, when my girls play soccer and at the end of the year they have this cute little, you know, soccer ceremony, they get trophies. You know, my girls, I don't think look at that trophy as the reason they do soccer. I think they feel really good about the effort that they put in, and I as a parent try to praise the effort, try to focus on what they're doing, and that they can then feel good about victory. I think saluting someone for being more improved, for giving the most effort is another way to go. So I guess I just don't see necessarily that we can bar giving trophies if parents are still putting forward those
It's
other
funny,
messages.
though, but you mentioned the idea of victory, and I guess if there's victory, then there should be a trophy in your eyes, Bert. But if there's not, then there shouldn't be, because then you shouldn't be rewarded for the effort.
Sure, this drives me crazy also. I mean, I have an 8-year-old, and for 2 years he was playing soccer, and they were keeping no score whatsoever.
Right.
So now you're getting a trophy for tying for 12 weeks.
Right.
So none of it made any sense to me at all.
Right. Well, we certainly all seem to have a lot to say about it. The conversation will continue. Bert, Kelly, thank you both so much for joining me.